Yeah, I'll admit, I was driving Bobo around. I was trying to get on the show. I was trying to do the shit, and it just, they fucked me. Made me look like a fucking asshole. So, props to Bobo for at least correcting that fucking lying it's Stevie Lou. And now, you know what? Stevie Lou will never be mentioned on this program again. Fuck Kevin Brennan. It's fuck Kevin Brennan for life. But Kevin Brennan actually has an audience and is notable. Stevie Lou's a fucking nobody. You know what you are, Stevie Lou? You're a... Let's do Bobo first, because Bobo, I like Bobo. I don't mind Bobo, but Bobo had some lines.
Ray,
So Bobo apparently, I haven't seen this clip yet, but it was I was tagged in it. Misery Loves Clips tagged me in it, and they're like, yeah, Bobo said Mersh chauffeured Bobo around. So, which I find odd, because I hung out with Bobo one day my entire life, and he never saw my car. So I don't know how I would have chauffeured him around. But, no, not the Bohemian Grove, the Brohemian Grove.
What you like better?
Oh, look at Ray's doing it. All right, let's all do it again. Come on.
All right.
People watch this? What are they doing? All right, can we get to the meat?
I like it. Joe Rogan has Trump on today.
A little around a little bit before.
Thank you very much.
Well, he was trying to get on O&A by driving Bobo?
Because Bobo was like the man at Obade back then. He had a couple
no, but it was not O&A. That was very easy to get to by public transit. There was just other places I went to at the time that were.
And Mersh would drive you.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember a couple of years ago he had moved out of state. I forget where he's.
Oh, so they're manipulating him. Okay, that makes sense. You know, all right. You know what? I honestly thought Bobo was lying about me, and Bobo legitimately is already going. Well, no, we took public transportation and we went to a couple of gigs. Force Mommy said, "Why do they have pictures of me? Because they're fucking obsessed. That's why."
He's been because I lost contact.
He's in Florida now.
Yeah, I think he's in Florida, but I forgot where it's.
Tigger 7474. Bobo, do you have any fond stories of your former personal chauffeur, Mersh? Anything that comes to mind?
Well, for one thing, he wasn't a chauffeur. He was.
Thank you. Okay, these really buried the lead here. Bobo said, all right, we're not, you know what? I'm not even humoring this. I'm not giving Kevin Brennan any play. Because honestly, Kevo, the truth is, brother, ROTC's back, and we're already fucking pushing into your fucking numbers between 4 to 6. You're not going to be a factor when ROTC starts blowing back up. Overruled. They literally were like, yeah, Bobo said that Mersh drove them all around. No, see it, and Bobo's like, that was not the case, no. Yeah, I'll admit, I was driving Bobo around. I was trying to get on the show. I was trying to do the shit, and it just, they fucked me. They literally were like, yeah, Bobo said that Mersh drove them all around. No, see it, and Bobo's like, that was not the case, no. Yeah, I'll admit, I was driving Bobo around. I was trying to get on the show. I was trying to do the shit, and it just, they fucked me. Zen Rhino said Stevie Lou has always been a scumbag. Yeah, Stevie Lou is a fake little pussy, dude. He was always nice to me, and then now he's trying to be like Mr. bringing content to the show. But let me tell you the story. Now, the Bobo story is actually a very interesting one. It actually, if anything, is the beginning of my O&A supervillain origin story. And many of you have heard this story before. If you've heard it before, forgive me, but some people might be new to the show. So people wonder how I started off being such a huge fan of Opie and Anthony, and how I ended up, going after Jim Norton, prank calling him twice within 24 hours, why I've gone after Opie as much as I have, why I've personally gone after Anthony as much as I have. So about, I want to say 14 or so years ago, a long time ago, I was on a podcast called Hate Speech Radio, foreshadowing for my career to come. And my co-host had I wouldn't call it a big relationship, but they had some ins with the O&A guys. We always were trying to get on O&A. I was doing stand-up. I was doing a podcast that wasn't making any money, because this was back when even if people were watching your show, nobody didn't make money. There was a time when Bobo got catfished by some listeners into thinking that they wanted to hire him for a stand-up gig. And they were fucking with Bobo about it on O&A, like, wow, you got a stand-up gig, huh? All the way in Buffalo? How you gonna get there? And blah, 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 and all this shit, right? My old co-hosts, Dave and Heather, hatched a plan to basically like go, all right, because at the time, I was doing stand-up comedy and I was just working at a pizzeria, right? So my fucking schedule was pretty flexible. And I was like, they were like, yo, so what if you drive Bobo to Buffalo to this gig, right? Get some content out of it. We could get on O&A. They'll probably let us on the show to talk about the trip and stuff. So whatever. Like, all right, I'll do it. So I agree to take Bobo to Buffalo. The day of the gig starts getting close, right? And they put me in touch with Bobo. So I'm on the phone with him and we're trying to figure shit out, right? So it becomes very apparent that there is no gig in Buffalo. New York City to Buffalo is a 6.5 hour drive. 6.5 hour drive up to Buffalo. And I had a car that probably wouldn't even have made that trip, right? We get to the, close to the day of, and I'm like, Bobo, we got to figure out if there's a gig or not. Because I'm not going all the way to Buffalo for no money and no gig. Like, we got to figure this thing out, right? I'm like, Bobo, call your contact over there, right? Calls the guy, and the guy's being all cute and dancing around the issue, right? So I'm like, Bobo, give me the fucking phone. So I get on the phone, and I'm like, what's going on with this gig? Is this a real gig or not? I'm not fucking retard, so I'm not gonna fall for this shit. Tell me what the fucking deal is. And then they started hanging up and being all dodgy. So I had to be the one to break the news to Bobo. I'm like, there is no gig, Bobo. There is no gig. So what's going to result is you and I driving 6.5 hours to Buffalo, if my car makes it, but possibly just breaking down and being stuck in the winter in upstate New York. I come up with a different plan. And I'm like, fuck. So I call my co-hosts and I'm like, there is no gig. Like, if we drive all the way to Buffalo for no gig, that's not going to get us any content. It's a non-story. It just makes us look like assholes, right? We start brainstorming, and we're like, well, what can we do to salvage this? Because I really wanted to get on the Opie and Anthony show. Like, they were my idols for years. I wanted to get on there. So I'm like, what if we do this? What if I just bring a camera, bring a fucking couple of SD cards? I'll take the train out to Queens. I'll pick up Bobo. We'll take a subway into the city, right? Or we'll stay in Queens. We'll bounce all around the city for the night. And I'll take him to multiple open mics. And then we can just let him do some stand-up. And then that way we'll get footage of him doing his stand-up. And et cetera, right? Bobo, I pick him up. I go to his house that day, whatever. And I'm like, all right, Bobo, look, there's no gig. But if you want to do stand-up, I'll take you and you can go do a couple. I was like, I'll buy you pizza. You know what I mean? I'll buy you dinner. We'll drive around. We'll have a few beers, and I'll let you get on stage. So I call in every favor I can. I even called Jordan Rock, who's Chris Rock's little brother. So I called Jordan Rock, and I'm like, yo, are there any open mics today? I took him to Village Underground. I think I took him to Stand Up New York, Broadway Comedy Club, and then one of these like dive bars. We got enough footage of him doing comedy, Took him to get pizza. All he did was talk about O&A and the fucking Mets the whole night. And then I dropped him home. The plan was that I was going to go to SiriusXM in the morning in the freezing cold, which was a miserable trek, but I made it. Took the train at like 4 a.m. to get to the city in time. Got in the SiriusXM building. They sign us in, whatever. I sit in the fucking hallway. There's like a hallway. The Opie and Anthony didn't even have a green room because this was SiriusXM. Right away, it was just weird, right? Because like Club Soda Kenny right away was like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Mersh. I'm the guy that was with Bobo. I was the guy that did all the filming. I'm the guy that took him out. I'm the guy that got all the footage. They told me that I should be here today. I don't know, and he's like, all right, well, just wait here. This is where I pretty much was like, all right, these guys are fucking dead to me. We sit in the green room. I got there at like 5:30 in the morning to be there on time. We sat there till like 8 in the morning, just dying. I'm like falling asleep. I can't leave. Every time I'd be like, hey, can I go have a cigarette? They'd be like, if you leave, you can't come back in. It's like they were just being shitty. And I'm like, all right. So I sat there for like hours, not smoking, not doing anything, right? So like 8 o'clock comes around and they're like, Yeah, we still have Bobo. Bobo had his like stand-up stuff. Did we want to get to that? And you know, because you're listening in the hallway, and they're like, "Yeah, let's get with Bobo." And blah blah blah. And they're like, "All right, Bobo, you go in there." Blah blah blah. So I get up, stand up with Bobo and everything, and you know, Kenny, no, not you, just Bobo. And I'm like, but it's my footage. What do you mean? It's my footage. Why am I not getting in there? And he's like, just wait here, blah blah blah. Right? So. I forgot to tell you, before that, I got screamed at by Kenny. We were sitting in the hallway with the people that were going to be guests that day. An intern comes around. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, what do you mean, what do I want? He's like, what do you want for breakfast? And I'm like, oh, how nice. He's like, yeah, we're doing a breakfast order. What do you want? And I'm like, oh, sweet, man. Could I just get like a sausage, egg, and cheese on a bagel? And like a coffee? That'd be awesome, man. Thank you so much. Food comes. We're sitting there, whatever. It's me and Bobo and some other guy. We're sitting in the hallway, and the breakfast order comes. Intern comes over, nice kid. I don't even remember which intern it was, but nice kid comes over and he gives me my bagel, gives me my coffee, whatever. And we're just sitting there having a little breakfast real quick. Club Soda Kenny comes over. What the hell is this? I'm like, what is what? He's like, what is that? And I'm like, sausage, egg, and cheese on an everything bagel and a coffee. And he's like, who told you could have breakfast? And I was like, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. The kid came over and said, like, what did we want for breakfast? I was like panicking because he's a big dude too. And I'm like, I didn't want to offend. Like, I was really trying to be a good, gracious dude, you know? And he's like, you don't get breakfast. Nobody said you could have breakfast. And I'm like, all right, man, like, I'm sorry. I don't know, man. Kid asked me, I don't want to get him in trouble. Kid asked me for what I wanted, and I was like, fuck it. It's sausage and cheese. My bad, dude. Whatever. So that was the first moment I was like, this is humiliating. Then they were like, you know, whatever. And then Bobo was like, I got to go in, blah, blah, blah. Like, all right, man, whatever. And I was like, yo, man, just, you know, make sure to tell. And even to Bobo's credit, Bobo went in there and he's like, yeah, I'm here with Mersh. Mersh was the guy I was with. He's outside. And they were like, yeah, whatever, dude. I sat there. I gave them my footage. They took my footage. They took Bobo in the studio. They did their whole segment. I sat in that hallway. They came out. They gave me my fucking little, you know, what do you call it? The SD cards. Gave me my footage back. Sent me on my way. And I promised myself that day forward. That was actually not only changed how I feel about Opie and Anthony, but it changed, it absolutely forever permanently altered how I deal with every situation like this in life. I don't give a fuck when I meet somebody that's famous. I don't give a fuck if somebody was a big influence. I'm like, from that day forth, I'm like, I'm never ever gonna give the, you know what I mean, be this excited. Fuck that shit. So from that day forward, and that was when Sam Roberts low-key called me an open micer on camera, on mic, and I'm like, fuck, sucker. So it was one day I hung out with Bobo. We took the subway the whole day. I took him to some gigs, and then O&A fucked me over, and I never forgot that. So when you want to know why I wrote the quintessential article breaking down the history of Anthony Cumia's creep-file women abusing behavior, now you know. When you know why I go after Jim Norton as much as I do, now you know. And now you know why. And be honest, I don't go after Opie, because Opie's just living in his own hell. If I were to go after Opie, it would be like he'd actually get more viewers. That was it, man. From that day forth, I promise I would never fucking forget what those guys did. But yeah, I'll admit, I was driving Bobo around. I was trying to get on the show. I was trying to do the shit, and it just, they fucked me. Made me look like a fucking asshole. Props to Bobo for at least correcting that fucking lying at Stevie Lou. And now, you know what? Stevie Lou will never be mentioned on this program again. Fuck Kevin Brennan. It's fuck Kevin Brennan for life. But Kevin Brennan actually has an audience and is notable. Stevie Lou's a fucking nobody. You know what you are, Stevie Lou? You're a fan. You're a fan. That's all you are. You are a Dabblerverse fan that goes on shows sometimes. And most of the time is barely coherent.